Welcome to Everything Casual, bringing you original football casual videos from the golden era of the 80s and 90s, right up to current day. Football away day stories and historic clashes between football firms. Subscribe so you don't miss out. We upload videos every week.
Who is Sammy Skives?
Welcome to
song about.
Where the fuck is he? Go. Sammy was wasn't alone, but Sammy was an important face down here. He is 72 years old now and still going to Spurs. Man's a legend, his son's a legend. He was also probably the first black top boy of any football firm in the United Kingdom. Now, please tell me how culturally refined people were in 1970. Sammy's been going since 1968. And he's a black geezer looking for a tear up. Alright, that man is a goddamn walking legend. He does not get the credit he deserves. Something to me was the fact that he got out there, all odds against him, from Paddington originally, which is Spurs a little bit, but Chelsea very heavily as well. That man is if you can walk through hell, somebody's got to say something about you. And there ain't no book about him, there ain't no film about him, he ain't gone spouting to the media, he ain't tried to fucking make a name or a penny off his back. Geezer is a geezer purely for being a geezer. That's it, immortality. And that wasn't my intention at the time, but something needs to be said, right? I mean, we're criminal at this over at Spurs, right? We have this amazing community, an amazing fucking culture. Nobody speaks about it, which is respectable, because it is not it's a bit fucking clandestine, right? It's a bit hush-hush, because it is something different, which is the way it should be, but sometimes characters need recognition, especially when you're 72 on the place and he gave us the name that we're carrying on today.
Everybody knows the loud names, the football hooligans who wrote books, the ones who did documentaries, the men who became celebrities from violence, Cass, Brimson, the governors, the ICF, the headhunters. But before all of that, before football hooliganism became media mythology, there were the names whispered quietly on terraces, names spoken carefully in pubs, nicknames passed between generations, men whose reputations travelled the country long before the internet existed. And one of those names was Sammy Skives. To this day, nobody seems completely sure how his name was even spelled. And that tells you everything. Because Sammy wasn't famous in the modern sense. There were no interviews, no books, no podcasts, no self-promotion, just stories. Stories from Spurs, West Ham, Chelsea, QPR and Arsenal. Stories from old skinheads, old bootboys, old Terrace veterans. Stories about a black Spurs lad from London who somehow became one of the most respected faces in London football violence during the late 1960s and 70s. A time when football was harder, London was rougher, and the terraces were unforgiving. Yet somehow, Sammy earned legendary status. This is the story of the forgotten Black Spurs skinhead.
My name's Steve Brandon, local boy from Edmonton, big Tottenham fan, coaching horses, pub on the high road next to Barclays Bank. Been my local for 35 years. Luckily to run the pub now with my partner Tina. Many people have come and gone, but there's one particular fella, goes by the name of Sammy Skives. In my book, he's a legend, and they're proper Tottenham people. They go home and away. If trouble happens, it happens.
Now listen, sometimes I get things wrong, and please appreciate that this was before my time. So if I've got anything wrong in this video, please feel free to correct me. The video was only made to pay Sammy respect. Before Stone Island, before Burberry, before firms became organised super mobs, there were the skinheads, the original generation, late 1960s Britain, working class, aggressive, stylish, territorial. But contrary to what many people now believe, the original skinhead movement was heavily influenced by Jamaican culture. Reggae, ska, rocksteady. Black and white working class kids mixed together in ways modern people often don't understand. And somewhere in that world emerged Sammy. Most accounts place him around Paddington or Ladbroke Grove in West London. Back then, those areas were tough, proper tough, and they were deeply connected to the growth of skinhead culture. The clothes mattered, the reputation mattered, and football mattered more than anything. For Sammy, that football club became Spurs. Some say he started following Spurs around 1968. Others claim he was already known before that. Either way, by the early 1970s, his name was already spreading across London. This is what makes Sammy's story unique. Football hooliganism in the late 60s and early 70s was overwhelmingly white, especially the skinhead scene, but Sammy somehow became accepted, respected, and feared inside one of London's hardest football mobs. That alone says something about him. Because the Terraces respected one thing above all else: heart. And by every account, Sammy had plenty of it. I've heard of a black skinhead that ran with West Ham back in the day, and I'm aware of a black Chelsea skinhead, but all this was a long time ago. It's difficult to find information about them. But I would love to make a video about their story, so if anyone knows anything, you can contact me through Facebook. Just type in Everything Casual and my page will pop up. I'm happy to keep your identity anonymous if you like, and have a good story to tell. Anyway, back to Sammy. Old supporters describe him as charismatic, fearless, sharp-dressed, always surrounded by faces. One QPR supporter later recalled Sammy arriving at Loftus Road with around a dozen Tottenham lads. Among them were men nicknamed Tuck, Big Jim and Warren, characters straight out of football folklore. One supposedly had Tuck tattooed on his lip. Another reportedly carried a knife. It sounded less like a football crowd and more like a travelling London street gang. But Sammy always stood out. People remembered him decades later, not because he screamed loudest, not because he sold stories, but because when violence started, Sammy was always there. The North Bank incident was one of the most repeated stories involving Sammy that happened against West Ham. According to Terrace accounts, Spurs took around 20 lads into the West Ham North Bank during a heated cup tie around 1980. Madness. West Ham's North Bank was one of the most dangerous stands in England, but according to witnesses, Sammy led the charge. One fan claimed he was swinging a milk crate around above his head while West Ham scattered backwards. Whether exaggerated or not, the story survived for a reason, because football violence back then ran on reputation, and Sammy's reputation clearly travelled. Another witness remembered seeing him bloodied during a massive clash involving Arsenal and Spurs. Sammy reportedly had blood pouring from his face while wearing an orange bobble hat. He was carried away by St. John's ambulance. Minutes later, he allegedly returned straight back into the fighting again. True or exaggerated? That's how Terrace legends are born. But this is where Sammy's story becomes more interesting, because not every story about him involves violence. One Spurs fan remembered going into the West Ham end as a teenager. He recalled Sammy warning the younger lads to stay away because things were about to turn ugly. Another fan remembered being grabbed by police at Derby Station during an argument with officers. Out of nowhere, a black Tottenham supporter stepped in. "Oi copper, let him go." The fan believed it was Sammy. According to the story, the policeman backed down after Sammy squared up to him, Then Sammy allegedly grabbed the lad and pulled him away before things escalated further. And these stories matter. Because among old football mobs, real top boys often protected younger supporters. That was part of the code. Violence existed, but so did loyalty. And Sammy's name keeps appearing in stories where younger lads were looked after. That says a lot. Modern football fans often imagine organised firms like the ICF or headhunters. But Sammy came from an earlier era, the bootboy generation. Doc Martens, Levi's, Ben Sherman, Braces, Crombies. This was raw football violence before firms became brands. And Tottenham in the 70s had a serious reputation. Spurs away support travelled heavily, especially for London games. Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham and Millwall. The old London circuit was chaos. And according to the book Hooligan by Martin King and Martin Knight, Sammy had already become one of football's recognised faces. The book places him alongside famous names from Chelsea, West Ham and Arsenal. That is huge, because it suggests Sammy wasn't just locally known at Tottenham. His reputation was London-wide. In those days, that meant something. This is the strangest part of all. Almost everybody else from that era eventually talked. Books, interviews, documentaries, but not Sammy. Nothing. No interviews, no public stories, no glory hunting, just silence, which only made the mythology bigger, because football culture respects men who never talk, especially old school lads. And somehow, Sammy Skives became almost ghost-like, a figure who everybody seemed to know, yet nobody truly knew. Even now, older Spurs supporters claim he still attends matches, still around, still respected. A living piece of Terrace history. Decades later, the legend resurfaced again, not in football, but in music. The London Oi band Crown Court released a song called Sammy Skives. The track acted almost like a tribute, a monument to old Tottenham bootboy culture. And in an interview, the singer described Sammy as the legendary black lad who was a leading Tottenham Hotspur's bootboy in the 60s. That one sentence confirmed what many already believed. Sammy Skives wasn't just a random face. He was part of football folklore. Maybe some of the stories are exaggerated. Maybe some are half true. That's football culture. That's terrace history. The truth gets mixed with memory. Memory gets mixed with mythology. But one thing is undeniable. Sammy existed. He still goes to Spurs games to this day, and decades later, people still remember him. Not because he chased fame, but because he earned respect the old-fashioned way. On the streets, on the terraces, face to face. No social media, no cameras, no followers. Just reputation. And perhaps that's why the legend survived. Because in modern football culture, figures like Sammy barely exist anymore. The last of the real terrace ghosts. Is there any other old school legendary characters that you would like me to make a video about? Then reach out to me and let me know. To everyone that has subscribed, a massive thank you. I appreciate it. You have played your part in helping our channel grow. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I get it wrong. But all I want to do is create a place where we can share memories of good times. We are all getting older. It's good to reflect on the times we had. If you have a story to tell and you want me to share it on here anonymously, then reach out to me on Facebook. Just type in Everything Casual and my page will pop up. Click subscribe and like, and that way you will be notified when we put out a new video. See you next time. God bless.